What's going on, everyone? So I'm just gonna quickly make this video as requested by a bunch of people on how I have my interactive brokers set up for my execution. I do not trade on Thinkorswim. I only chart on Thinkorswim and I execute on interactive brokers. It's been working well for me typically. I did switch up uh, order fills and stuff recently, and it seems like it's been better. Shout out to Ricky for that. So yeah, just basically gonna give you a quick rundown of how I uh, I have mine set up and the hotkey setup that I also have been using. I switched over from Thinkorswim I think about 2 or 3 years ago because the fills were just getting really unbearable for me, and at the time interactive brokers had instant cash settlement, so it was like a kind of a no-brainer for me. At first it's a little bit intimidating, a little bit, I guess it's not the most user friendly, but you can set this setup relatively quick. This is not it, by the way. I'll show you guys from step one A to Z basically of how to set it up just like mine. You can obviously tweak it however you want. If something works better for you, that's fine. But I'm just going to show you how I do it. So basically you just create a new custom layout. So I'll just call it, trading. Alright, so you just want to start here on new window. And the first thing that I like to have always on my setup is SPY. So essentially this is the only chart that I actually use on interactive brokers. It's the SPY chart, and I keep this chart here so that I basically continuously have a visual of SPY as I'm in a trade. I don't have to keep glancing back and forth because typically I'm looking at level 2, which I also have through interactive brokers. And yeah, so I like to just have SPY here, especially when I'm trading SPX end of day. I really like to have it here so that I can just be watching the volume increase, decrease, etc. And also it just comes in handy to just always have SPY right in front of your face, in my opinion. You can put any chart you want here, QQQ, SPY, ES, whatever you follow typically, but I do like having SPY here. So I have SPY here on the left side. The next thing that I like to have is level 2. So I have level 2 down here in the left hand corner, and I just shrink it like that. So level 2, we're gonna link this to my watch list in a second. This does not need to be linked, and show you what I mean by that. So I always have a watch list here, and I kind of shrink it to be pretty thin. You'll see why after I complete the setup, but essentially I just put every name that I'm really interested in trading on this watch list. My actual watch list has like God knows how many names, and I kind of just scroll through them when it's a slow day. Maybe I'm looking for a couple plays. I see I see if any of these names are pushing. Oh, the video is not loading. Okay. Alright, nothing's loading now. Okay, so yeah. So as you see here, my watch list is linked to my level 2, right? So these are color coded, the chain link, and what that does is anytime you click on a name, its level 2 pops up here, and I'm a very big level 2 trader. I would say that majority of the time I'm actually looking at level 2 when I'm in a trade, and just glancing back at the charts to see levels. But I do like seeing orders come in on the bid, on the ask, where sellers are stepping in or buyers, etc. So my eyes are majority of the time glued right here on level 2. That's how I trade. So this is really helpful for me. Again, my actual watch list, I'm not on my main account because I can't cover the account number, so I had to do this with a paper account. But if it were my actual account, you would see this is literally full to the bottom. And I probably only trade like 4 or 5 of those names on the regular, but it just helps to have them, visually. If you ever forget about a name, you want to be like, oh, how's this name doing? You can always do that. Um, yeah, so the next thing you want to have, you got to search this one up. It's the quote monitor. It's going to ask you to name it. So I'll put calls here, right? And you'll see why in a second. Call. All right, so the quote monitor is essentially where you're going to be dragging each and every one of your contracts. And kind of the way I like to have it set up is a tab for everything, right? So I like to have a separate tab for SPX, because when you load up a bunch of contracts, SPX moves pretty aggressively. You could be jumping between $5 to $10 in between, and it just can get a little messy. So I like to just have my calls on one tab, my puts on one, and then SPX on a separate one. You could do other separate tabs if you want, swing, blah, 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 this, that. All up to you. So the next thing I have, and I don't really use it much, but in certain situations I do. For instance, if there's something with a really big spread and I'm trying to get in the mid, it's the order entry tab. So if you guys have used this, you hit buy, and then you can click the mid, and you got to pick the quantity, whatever. We're also going to link this to our contracts in a second. So just to do a quick recap, it's buy chart, level 2, watch list, quote monitor, order entry. So you can see it's kind of coming together now, and it's looking better. So the very last thing, and probably the most important thing, is the option chain, right? So the option chain is where you select your contracts, and I like to have it right down here. My actual setup, there's more room, so you can see more contracts. So I'm gonna just scoot this one up, bring this one up here. So now you want to link this, right? Let's say red, link them together. And what that does essentially is that whenever you click a contract, it brings it to your order entry. That's if you want to trade with your order entry, with the order entry section. I personally use hotkeys. I'm going to run through that as well, but some people like trading like this better, and that's fine, right? The thing I do like about this is that when you enter an order, say for instance, actually, let me just show you guys how I set this up. So if I'm looking to place shop, 66 calls, I bring them up here, and these are the tabs that I have above. The average price of my fill, just in case I average down or average into a position. I like to just see the average price update. This shows your daily PL, and then while you're actually in the position, your unrealized and your realized. Also the spread tab, very helpful for me, because it actively shows you the spread between, see 5 cents when I'm playing bigger contracts and stuff. Visually, it just helps me see, okay, like this spread might be a little too big, even though you can catch it off the bat. But if you're looking at a bunch, kind of gives you an idea of the liquidity and stuff right off the bat. So yeah, I would put my calls here, I would put my puts here, and whichever contracts you want. So if you're, I usually have like a couple strikes on the downside in case I miss a move or I was in another play and then I'm looking to get back into this. You just want to keep it pretty concise and clean, because you don't want to just overstimulate yourself and have 100 contracts going down here. Like, you shouldn't be focusing on that many setups regardless. So yeah, it is important to link these two if you're looking to do your order entry through here. And what I was saying earlier is that if I buy, let's say, if it'll even let me, I'll put like 5 contracts. If you submit the order, right? Yeah, whatever. Just 1 second. Oh. I don't know why it's not. It usually lets you do it even if you're on a paper trade. Whatever, but basically once the order's in, I like this because you can hit update here and kind of just readjust your price and then resubmit it. But again, I very, very rarely use order entry. It's just kind of in case of an emergency, or like I'm really trying to get out of something with a big spread and my hotkeys aren't filling me. I have had to like go down here and just kind of hit mid and submit it manually, and then I can drag through the price. There's a drop down on the price and you can submit the price that you want, keep manually updating it. But seldom does that happen. Oh, okay. Oh, that's my bad. So yeah, here it's this. You can't see it here because it's not live, but this would be the update tab. Sorry, I was doing, that's why 62 puts. I was wondering why this wasn't showing up. Yeah, so I don't know what all these messages are. Anyway, yeah, so this is the general setup. It's pretty clean, I would say. It's pretty easy to navigate. You always have SPY here. You can change SPY if you want to look at it on a bigger time frame, if you want to look at it on a smaller time frame. Especially when trading SPX end of the day, I feel like this is a bit helpful because you can see, you know, you can be looking. This is also part of the reason why it's very hard for me to like go back and type while I'm trading SPX end of day. It's because my eyes are glued right here, right? My eyes are glued on SPY's level 2 and SPY's chart, looking for volume pushes, etc. So that's kind of why. This is the setup. Pretty simple, pretty clean. I've seen some other people's setups. It's very sloppy, and you know, as a trader, like, you should be organized, clean setups, visually pleasing as much as you can. You don't want like all this noise to be distracting you. I see people with like fucking book trader up here, this up there. It's not necessary. Just have something very simple. If you are charting on interactive brokers, you know, you can create a separate one, right? And then you just open whichever charts you want. I personally don't like these charts, but you know, they do the job. And you can have this set up here. You could detach this as well if you want to. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the hotkey setup. So you want to hit if you're trying to set up hotkeys, you want to hit this configure hotkeys up here, and then you see I have a few set up here. So I personally don't use a stream deck. I just use my keyboard. Works well for me. Stream deck looks cool. I mean, I've heard good things about it if you're interested in that, but regardless, you don't need a stream deck to use hotkeys. I'm sure it helps, but not necessary, right? So basically I have a couple set up here, right? So this is how I execute, right? So you hit record, you type in the keyboard combination that you want. So command 1 I'll have as buying 1 contract, right? So this is how I have mine set up. Ever since Ricky told me about this, it has been working well for me. Before, I was doing limit at bid ask midpoint and then having like IB algo as the destination, and I was missing a lot of plays because of that. So you want to do buy absolute, you put in the value, so this is one contract, right? Limit, and then ask. I know it doesn't really seem like it makes sense, but buy at the ask. I've been getting filled at the mid. It works. This is important as well. You need to have to transmit the order instantaneously, because it will show you a message every single time you try and get every single time you try and get into a position, and that can get really, really annoying. You want this, but you also just, you want to be confident when you're getting into a position, because it will fill you almost instantaneously. Option algorithm, we don't really care about stock. You could leave this as default, but the destination for option algorithm, smart, has been working well for me, right? So that's just an example of one contract, two contracts. Again, I have it set up, command 2, you hit record, you put in the keyboard combination you want, customize, again, absolute, 2 contracts, buy at the limit, buy at the ask, and the order type should be a limit order. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Sell, same deal. Shift 1 is sell 1, right? You record that, you go to customize, sell, absolute, 1 contract, order type limit, sell at the bid has been working well for me. You guys can try whatever you want. I've tried a bunch. This has been decent. I really haven't been paying, very, very close attention to the exact fill I'm getting at the time of entry, but I can tell you it's definitely, I'm not getting filled at the bid when I'm selling, and I'm not getting filled at the ask when I'm buying. It's somewhere in between, and I've been trading SMCI and things of that sort. What's important to me is that I get in. When I'm trying to get into a position, I'm confident that I'm getting into that position. I want to get in. Have there been times where I don't get in and it actually saves me from getting, losing on a trade? Yes. But the amount of times alternatively where I have been forced to get in later and chase definitely overshadows that. So I just want to get in when I want to get in. I'm pretty, I try to be precise with my entries, so that's very important to me. And the last thing I want is the other week when I was trying to get into AVGO puts, and I missed basically a 150% move because I couldn't get filled. And I ended up chasing, which is not good. I hate doing that. So fills are very, very important to me, which is part of the reason I am trading on interactive brokers in the first place. Another hotkey that I like to have set up is canceling all submitted orders and any untransmitted orders. So basically, if you don't get filled, I use this. So I have command C, command cancel, and basically what this does is if you didn't get filled, you missed your entry, you cancel that order, you get back in. You don't want to leave that order just hanging out there, because if the price potentially pulls back and you're not as confident in the move, you will get filled. So that's important. There is a bunch of stuff here that you can place a hotkey for. These are the main ones for me. Obviously, buying, selling, and canceling orders. I don't have much else in terms of that. I'm trying to see here if there's anything. Yeah, I don't really see anything that I am actively using. Yeah. So that's that's hotkeys, right? So again, it depends on how many contracts you really trade with, right? So I have some for 5, some for 10, some for 20. It depends. But if you are trading with a small account, then you can start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be fine. So yeah, that's the hotkey setup. Pretty straightforward, and this is basically it. This is the setup I've been trading on every single day for the past few years, and it works really well for me. It's seamless. can bounce around easily. I have charts on another separate monitor. It's really clean, and you can have so many strikes up here that like you're spoiled for choice basically, and yeah, that's basically it. So for all the people who are kind of curious as to how I have mine set up, this is it. You guys can let me know if you have any questions regarding this. Excuse me. And I'll help you guys out if there's anything that I may have missed. Don't think I missed anything, but give it a try if you haven't. If this looks appealing to you, give it a shot. I know a lot of people get on interactive and they're kind of lost because it is a little bit confusing. I had to also watch like an instructional video the first time I did mine, but I really like it, and I think that it's some of the most seamless order transmission that you can have in terms of hotkeys, in terms of having all your contracts up, like ready. You don't got to worry about, like, some people use Book Trader, but I'm not the biggest fan of that. It's kind of not visually pleasing to me, and I just really like having, you see, like I'll just do like a hotkey order, see, like there, like command 1, like immediately, and if this were live trading, I would get filled instantaneously. And you see I just hit command C, and that's to cancel all orders, right?
Order cancel.
So it's just quick. Like, everything needs to be quick in trading. It's very time sensitive kind of environment, so I think this really helps. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and if this ends up working out for you, also let me know. I've kind of tailored this setup to like my liking. I haven't really seen anyone with the exact same setup, but this is just how I like to trade. To each their own. All right, guys. Catch y'all on the flip. Let me know if you have any questions or any concerns. All right. Peace.